Hello and welcome to the new presentation. Today we are going to discuss this topic which is called helping people develop and grow. This is yet another very important topic in business psychology context. So what we are going to discuss today are a couple of things. This is about what is called mentoring, what mentors do, then what is the benefits of mentoring, what is coaching, what coaches do, benefits of coaching, differences between monitoring and coaching, differences between training and coaching, and finally, dealing with difficult people, including bullies that we find in the organization. So there are a number of very interesting topics that we are going to discuss over here. The reason this topic is so important is because, in organizations, anywhere when somebody starts working as a new employee, he is a bit, kind of novice and wants to understand a lot of things, not only the task and the job, but also about the people around, the organizational culture, do's and don'ts, and how, best to sort of manage one's career, do the good job, and so on and so forth. So that's why all organizations want that their employees should do the best in their role, and for which they also organize a lot of programs to develop them, to help and develop them and grow their career. And these mechanisms are called mentoring, coaching, as well as training. So we are going to discuss a little bit of each of them. And then after that, we will discuss about, in organizations, there are some people who are having behavioral issues. They are dysfunctional because of certain personality traits and things like that. And we encounter, problems with these people during the work. So how to deal with, such difficult people, we'll discuss about a little bit about that also. And finally, if somebody is being bullied, then what he or she should do in the organization. So these are some of the things that inshallah we'll be discussing today. So what is mentoring? All right. As you can see here in the slide, mentoring is basically a very sort of nurturing relationship, just like, in the family, the elders take care of the younger one, the parents and things like that. Similarly, in the organization, so, senior people, maybe more experienced people, they take care of the younger one, the less experienced one, those who are have just started their job. So what they do is that they try to, provide them knowledge, advice, insights, and things like that on a very long-term basis. It's like, in Hindi, we call it guru-shishya relationship. That is, the mentor acts like a guru, as a teacher, and, carries with him his mentee for a very long time to see how he progresses his career, how he can avoid certain organizational mistakes, guides them, counsels them, provide emotional support during the time when there is some psychological issues with the mentee. There's maybe have experiencing anxiety or depression or things like that. The mentors do a lot of things. So generally, mentors are senior people, usually outrank protege or mentee, and are usually older, in age. So the role of mentor is very holistic, and is trying to take care of the mentee, in all possible ways. So that is what we call as mentoring, and many organizations have instituted this practice. which is very, very helpful to the new employees, to those who are new to the workplace. So that is what mentoring is, and what they do, mentors, are a couple of things. They coach, they protect the employees from any kind of, uh, uh, unusual happening in the organizations, protect them from making mistakes, and avoiding, that kind of issues and problems. Sharing challenging assignments, they try to share their own, assignments with the mentee so that they learn the rope. Acting as a referral agent, mentees also provide, reference if, let's say, he is seeking a promotion, or seeking some other project assignment. So the mentor will be recommending, the mentee for those kinds of things. Mentor is also a role model, provide himself in a way, before the mentee, that the mentee can learn from the behavior, the kind of attitude and behavior and the productivity, the efficiency, how he or she, the mentor, deals with other people within the organization, outside the organization. So a lot of observations takes place, and the mentee learns from those observation of the mentor. Mentor also provide support and encouragement to the mentee. Do counseling during the time if the mentee is having some kind of an emotional issue, and also explains the ropes. That is, the mentor try to also teach the mentee about the organizational culture, the work culture, what he should do, what he should not do, within the organization, in order to avoid any kind of trouble. So there are a number of benefits of mentoring. The benefits could be wisdom transfer. The mentor transfers his own knowledge, long-term knowledge and experience to the mentee. Personalized guidance, right? Career development helps the mentee in his career advancement, and providing emotional support, like I told you about the counseling things, right? Mentee gets self-confidence through that personalized support, and counseling and guidance. Um, Mentoring is also used, in succession planning. You might have heard about in the olden days, the kings, when they had their own sons in the line of succession, they would assign some mentor, some guru, to their son who would be succeeding him, and then this guru would teach him all the skills, all the, uh, things that he should know in order to become, a king himself. Similarly, in the organizational context also, mentors do the same thing, try to, train the mentee towards a bigger role, maybe in the leadership role or some other, important roles. So mentoring is also very useful in the succession planning. And of course, in culture building, that is, mentor also teaches, as I told you, about the do's and don'ts within the organization. All right, through a lot of personalized teachings, like telling them the stories that what happened, during the past when somebody did this or somebody did that, and through those stories, a lot of organizational culture things are being transmitted from the mentor to the mentee. So that helps the mentee in understanding the work culture or the organizational culture. So what are the benefits to the organization for having this mentoring program? Of course, mentor passes along or transfers valuable knowledge to the protege or the mentee. Many times, this knowledge is tacit knowledge. That is the knowledge which cannot be found in the manuals, which cannot be explicitly, documented. Rather, it is tacit. It is in the in the mind of the mentor, and he can only tell through maybe through stories. So when he says some stories about the past things that has happened in the organization, those stories are a very powerful source of learning in terms of learning basically the culture of the workplace, the organizational culture and things like that. The mentor is very good in terms of teaching the mentee about the organizational culture. Uh, Mentoring increases job satisfactions of the people mentored. So there are a lot of research studies on this, which says that the mentoring program is very useful because when this is there, the mentees get more happy and satisfied because there is somebody who is going to take care of him on a long-term basis. So that this makes them happy and satisfied. Also, employees who receive mentoring are more likely to be emotionally committed to the organization and thereby they stay longer. So that is another advantage of mentoring, that people who are being mentored, they get emotionally committed to the mission and vision of the organization, and that makes them stay with that organization rather than leave. So now from mentoring, we are going to discuss a little bit about what is coaching. So coaching is a very structured process where professional coach assists individuals or teams in setting or in team setting and achieving specific goals, typically focused on performance improvement within a defined time frame. So coaching is a little different from mentoring in the sense that this is a kind of very structured program, maybe time specific, maybe for 1 week or 1 month or things like that, where a trained expert provide certain training to the uh, to the individual or even to the team, for achieving some specific, objectives, right, in order to improve the performance. So, for example, if the organization has introduced new software and employees need to be, trained on that. So they hire a coach, they hire some external expert, and he would provide, that kind of a specific training to the employees to teach them about the new, how to develop that skill. So it's very structured, like unlike mentoring, which is very long term, it is very time specific. And it involves providing guidance, feedback, and support tailored to the unique needs and objectives. Uh, so any unique need, for example, any bank wants to introduce Islamic banking concept, but the employees don't know about Islamic banking, so they would try to hire some coach who would give them that kind of learning experience on Islamic banking. So that is called coaching. It is very time specific. Once the objective is achieved, the coaches ceases to exist. So there are a number of benefits to coaching as well, like mentoring. It improves performance of the employees. It develops their skills. They become more, objective in their perspective through that learning experience. It provides continuous learning. Coaching can also is organized from time to time because as the nature of the work changes, as the technology changes, as the customer's preference changes, things like that, the organization is always negotiating with changes. So we need coaching things from time to time for continuous learning. Also, change management. When organizations change, a lot of changes happen because of this change that is happening outside the world. So the coaching is required during each phases of the change management when the changes occur in the organization. It also helps the organization in team development. There are coachings that is being done for how to develop your team, how to build your team spirit, how to work in a team, things like that. And as well as leadership development. There are a lot of coaching that is happening on the leadership in order to help employees, become a better leader. So we discussed about mentoring and we discussed about coaching. Now let us try to find out the differences between the two. As you can see here, in mentoring, the mentor takes a broader approach, nurturing long-term personal and professional growth. It's a long-term professional growth relationship. Whereas in coaching, it focuses on specific goals within a defined time frame aimed to improve individual or team performance. Secondly, in mentoring, it is often unstructured, emphasizing relationship building. So mentoring is a kind of day-to-day, relationship every day on a long-term basis where the mentor always, is there to help the mentee, guide and counsel him or her. Whereas in coaching, it is a very structured process with formal conversation, just like organizing a training program for 1 week training program. And so a sort of coach would try to, give, certain presentations. And yet another mentoring is organized by or done by senior people who are more experienced individuals who share wisdom and guidance. Whereas coaching is done by some experts in very specific skills. As you might have seen in the sports arena as well, there are different coaches for different parts of the skills of the game, and similarly in the organizational context also, the experts, the coaches are for very specific objective. Finally, mentoring is more holistic and relationship-based, whereas the coaching is more goal-oriented and very skill-focused. So I hope that there are some differences between the two is obvious to all of you. All right. Now, we should also try to know about the differences between coaching and training. Right. Differences between coaching and training. It's not only mentoring and coaching that is being used to help the employees develop their skills and knowledge, and career and performance. But, we also know that training is also a very important part of employees development program. So what is the difference between training and coaching? Now, when we talk about training tends to be more directive and very instructional, right? Training is very, very directive. Now, coaching could be part of the training, but training is more like, providing certain knowledge and skills by a trainer in a specific area, whereas coaching is more facilitating self-discovery and personal insight. So there's a little difference between the two. It is more directive. Coaching is more kind of directive, whereas training is more of a directive, whereas coaching is more kind of facilitative in the nature that the coach basically try to sort of facilitate, the coaching for insight and self-understanding, self-discovery. So a lot of techniques difference are there between the two, training and coaching. Training also may involve workshops, courses, or seminars, whereas coaching involves ongoing support and development. So this is another one that there can be different ways of providing training to the employees, like involving organizing workshops or certain training courses, or even having some seminars kind of things. Whereas coaching is rather more ongoing, depending upon the need areas as and when the organization wants to introduce some new technology, some new changes, and so they would like to have some kind of ongoing support to the employees in the form of coaching. Finally, the training focuses on achieving a specific predefined learning outcomes or competencies, whereas coaching focuses on achieving personal or professional goals that are often more open-ended and individualized. Right? So these are some of the differences between training and coaching. So we discussed about mentoring, their benefits to the individual as well as to the organization. Also discussed the coaching and the benefits that it provides to the employees and the organization, and the differences between mentoring and coaching as well as coaching and training. So now we move on to discuss what is called as managing difficult people. So in organizations, not employees are sort of having very positive attitude, values, and the kind of people that that organizations wants to have. They may also end up with some people who prove to be difficult, managing. So what are those people? Who are those people? Some people are difficult to handle due to their attitude, values, and behavior. And some of them have personality disorder, a maladaptive pattern of behavior that deviates from cultural norms. That is, they're just different. Maybe, we find some people who are rude in their behavior, or maybe having sadistic tendency sometimes they have, right? Or lack etiquette and manners, right? So this happens not only with people within the organization. Maybe if you're dealing with customers, there are some customers who misbehave. Some suppliers may have issues and problems. So we have a lot of such issues within the organization and outside, in dealing with people from within the organization as well as from outside. And that is an important issue that we need to understand. So what are these types of difficult people? There are several different varieties of these people, and I will just list down some of them. One is what is called as no people. That is these kind of people are always having negative opinion or negative attitude, They are always there to say no rather than yes, or any initiative, any task, or any idea. So that is very negative in kind of people. Yet there are some people whom we call as Jekyll and Hydes. That is, they may be nice to some people, but can be tyrannical as a supervisor. All right. So apparently they appear to be very nice, but when they become, some boss or some supervisor, get some power, then they change, and they just change dramatically. So that is another variety. Then some whom we call as whiners. That is, they always have complaint about the people, process, regulations, overwork, as well as underpay. So they always have issues. They always have complaints. So that is called as whiners. We also have people who we call as backstabbers. That is, they pretend to be nice, but discredit you behind your back. All right. They would look very friendly in their behavior, but at the back, when you're not around, they would try to sort of discredit you, talks bad things about you. Then we have people whom we call as high maintenance type. So high maintenance types are people who require much time and attention. They always they're very weak in terms of understanding things or doing things in the right way. So they always, need some kind of, support. That is why it is called as high maintenance type. Yes, there are some more. One is called as know-it-alls. That is, these are the people who are experts on anything. No. So they are always, showing, being very overconfident kind of thing. So know-it-all, experts on everything. Some are blamers, never solve own problems, and will blame others for any uh, poor performance. All right. Then there are some who we call as gossipers. So they always spread negative rumors. We also have what we call as bullies. So always they coax and intimidate others. Um, they there are others which we call as exploders. That is, they are prone to get angry, quickly, show a lot of temper tantrums, exploders. Then we have what we call as yes people. That is, they always agree, but don't deliver. All right, they will always say yes, we can do that, but when it comes to achieving the goal, they don't do that. The others, who we call as clods, that is, they're master procrastinators. All right, that is, they always try to find excuses to not do things, or sort of postpone it for another day. Then another one is called minimalist. So minimalists are very apathetic and low performing, do just enough to avoid being fired. So they are very sort of apathetic kind of people who do not a good job, all right, but do enough, to stay in the job. Yet one more is called office cheats. That is, they take claim for ideas of others, benefit from the ideas without giving appropriate credit. So a lot of these people are there who would hijack, other people's projects or ideas, and claim it to be theirs. So as we saw, the number of such problem people in the organizations, unfortunately, there is no wonder tactics that have been developed to deal with all of these. But there are some general guidelines that is being suggested to deal with these kind of difficult peoples. Let us discuss some of them, how to deal with difficult people. So these are some of the suggestions. One is that you should stay calm and professional, right? When you're dealing with somebody who is showing you temper tantrums, or maybe even slow in their work, all right, you should avoid reacting impulsively or taking things personally, all right? So stay calm and be professional in dealing with them. Then second one is listen actively, pay attention to what the person is saying without interrupting. Let the person, who is a problem one, tell his story, and you should patiently listen to that. Show that you value their perspective by acknowledging their points. You try to show that you are able to understand what he is trying to say, or maybe even appreciate. May not you agree with that, but you appreciate what they're trying to suggest. Be constructive and not destructive in your criticism. All right. So what is the difference between constructive and destructive criticism? When you criticize somebody and when you feel good about it, then it is called destructive criticism. This is the very interesting, measure of whether the criticism is constructive or destructive. If you criticize and you feel good about it, you're happy about it that you have done something to sort of cut that person to the size, then that is called destructive. So you should not do that. Dealing with people, you should be very constructive. Try to provide, solutions rather than, um, just destroy that person's self-confidence. Try to focus on solution. Shift the conversation from problems to potential solutions. Encourage a difficult person to contribute ideas for resolving the issue. Right? Try to, direct the conversation not toward discussing only the problem, rather through some kind of an interaction, try to encourage that person to provide some solution for why you are not able to achieve your goal, or why some people are not happy with you for your behavior. Next is use I statements. Express your feelings and concerns without blaming. For example, say, I feel frustrated when, rather than say, you always frustrate me. All right. So make it like a statement like this. I feel frustrated when you are not able to achieve that target, in this fortnight or in this week or in this month. I feel frustrated. Don't say that you always frustrate me. So that will, be very counterproductive. Seek to understand, try to understand the root cause of their behavior. They may be dealing with personal issues, feeling undervalued, or experiencing stress. Sometimes it may also be because it's very important to sort of have a very open mind dealing with such people. Try to understand why this person is behaving like that. Is it because he or she is like that? Or is it because of some contextual issues? Maybe he's dealing with some personal family problems. All right, I'm feeling undervalued in the organization. Nobody appreciates or values him, or having some kind of a job stress, because of the kind of task assigned to that person. It's better to understand, employees in a very holistic sense. Okay, try to find out the source of the problem rather than simply jumping to the conclusion. So that is called seek to understand. And stay positive, maintain a positive attitude and focus on the person's strengths and contributions. Positive reinforcement can sometimes improve behavior. So if you recognize, any small good things in that employee, in that person, recognize that, if you do that, the person will feel good about it. And naturally, it is a positive reinforcement, and the person will try to repeat those good things, in future. So stay positive. Next is document interactions. That is, if you are dealing with a problem person, problem employee, who is rude, or maybe, does a lot of procrastinations or does anything wrong, it's very important that you keep a record of the interaction that you have with that person. Why? Because documentations can be useful for future reference and informal HR processes, right? If those things are being documented, then it can be used later on if, let's say, that employee is being, the HR try to find reasons why this employee should be fired from the job. Okay. Next is involve a mediator. If the things are out of control or if you're not able to solve the problem, it is advisable that you should hire or involve, not hire, involve somebody as a third party, as a neutral third party, such as a supervisor or an HR representative, to mediate the conflict that's between you and that problem employee. And finally, know when to escalate. That is, if the behavior is disruptive or harmful to the work environment, escalate the issue to higher management or HR for further action. If nothing works, all right, and the problem remains, right, you have done everything to sort of deal with that issue, but it doesn't work, then naturally the next step would be to go beyond that and try to escalate that, report the matter to your supervisor, to the top management, or to the HR, wherever it is possible. So these are some of the suggestions on how to deal with difficult people. Now, what if you are bullied? We know that in organizations, some people who are suffering, especially those who are weaker gender. We have so many stories about sexual harassments in the workplace, and most of the time, these people who are involved in this kind of bully behavior, they are powerful people. They are seniors, they may be managers, all right, and they try to harass, they try to intimidate, seek favor and things like that, sexual favors. So if that is the situation that is happening in the organization, what is needed to be done? There are suggestions over here. Number one is that admit you are being bullied, okay? Don't simply, suffer. Just admit that, yeah, you are being bullied. There's somebody who is trying to take advantage of you. All right, admit that and then try to find the way out. So if it is creating your mental issue, you are feeling a lot of trauma or stress, all right, it's advisable that you see a doctor, then stand up for your role yourself and be confident. That is, don't simply suffer in silence. Stand up for yourself and be confident and face the problem, face that bully. Avoid giving off victim signals. So if you give, the victim signals that, yeah, you are being suffered, you are crying, and things like that, the bully enjoys, that kind of things, They have got inherent, weakness that they enjoy people, when they suffer. So don't do that. Avoid giving any kind of, signal to the victim, to the bully that you are suffering. Do not show bully you are upset and suffer in silence. All right. Find out about your rights. Employees have the right, to complain and to deal with that kind of situation, right? So there are a number of things that needs to be done if somebody is being bullied. The most important one is that you should not simply suffer in silence, and let the bully take advantage of you. You should deal with it. There are organizational policies in place in many places, and you have not to sort of worry about your job, okay? Because if you do that, if you complain against the bully, you are being protected, right? There are policies like whistleblower blowing policy. The whistleblowers are being protected. There are systems where you complain anonymously to somebody who is being given the responsibility to listen to such complaints within the organization, and then they will escalate this issue to the top management. So this is all that we have discussed today. What we discussed about what is called mentoring, what mentors do, and what are the benefits of mentoring to the mentee and organization. We discussed about coaching, why it is needed, what are the differences between mentoring and coaching, and also what are the differences between mentoring and training, and who are difficult people, their types, and how to deal with them. Finally, what to do if you are bullied in the workplace. All right? So that's all. for today, and I hope that this gave you some insight on how organizations try to help employees develop and grow professionally in the organization. Thank you very much.